StarCast is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code StarCast or Biscuit at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse System. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code StarCast and get 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order. And finally, SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Daily quotes from the StarCraft 2 community. The site may suck, but the quotes are sick. And make sure to go check out their t-shirts in their new store. Once again, that's SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com, and we thank them for their support. Sponsor an episode of StarCast at thestarcast.com.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Hello and welcome back to the 154th episode of StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, and with me as always is Kyle Fergusson. Kyle, dude, it's another Thursday. We've been doing this for a while. How you doing?
We've been at this for a bit. We got to be coming up on 3 years pretty soon.
It's sometime in July, yeah. The third year of us doing this show.
But had a nice long weekend, got out of town. First hot day here in Chicago, so I've seen outfits that would make Walmart employees blush.
Well, you did live in this. You lived in Florida for 4 years, so
yes, I've been to the South.
Is the Walmart crowd in Chicago as bad as the Walmart crowd in Florida?
Pretty much. I can't fathom how you gotta like either have the front so tight, but the ass backs. They just how all that skin just completely travels from the bottom all the way up the back and still has this giant. It's just, don't wear an open shirt in that case.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it sounds like we're suffering from the same amount of crimes against fashion.
Sure, yours are probably more sweaty down in Florida.
Yes, but it's okay because then the sweat instantly crystallizes as you walk through into the 60-degree air conditioning of a Walmart. So anyway, that laughter you're hearing is our guest for the day. Hands down, it's wonderful when I get to say this. One of the most requested guests on this show. We always get emails like, "Oh, you should have this guy on. You should have that guy on." And by far, one of the most requested. Please welcome to the show for the first time, Marcus, better known as djWHEAT Graham. Marcus, dude, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope I can live up to all the requests. I also want to say, congratulations! 150 episodes of anything is not easy to do, and this is coming from someone who has, done that, breached that number before. So good for you guys, because getting together, a lot of people are like, all right, we're going to make a show. And then, episode 3 rolls around. They're like, man, this is really hard. And it's a lot of work. And you got to do all this and that. And so good for you guys. I'm really honored to be on the program.
Thanks, man. You're coming from someone who has even more episodes under their belt. That means a lot. So
no problem, man.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying you hope you can live up to this. I always ask the question when you were requested, like, why? He does like 3 other shows a week at least. The man, why do you want to hear him on another podcast? But then again, I also selfishly just wanted to talk to you. So
well, I appreciate that.
So, anyways, how's your week doing? You have any wonderful off-topic rants about fat people in Walmart?
No, I don't. My rants today would be about slow people at the UPS store. I thought that today I came totally prepared. I had like some stuff that I do some, giveaways to subscribers every Sunday. So I had some stuff that like I boxed it. I had addresses properly labeled, and it still took this woman like 25 minutes to make everything happen. The magic was not there today, so
that's no good.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? They're out there though.
I so rarely have to snail mail stuff. Every time I end up having to go to a post office of any kind, I'm immediately transported back to being 5 years old and going to the post office with my mother, and just being like, what's going on? It hasn't changed at all.
And the self-service stations don't work. The touchscreen, you press one thing wrong and you got to start all over. And there's always that fake plant in the front window.
Yep. I watch out for them.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, anyways, it's your first time on the show, so we always, anytime we have a new guest, we'd like to kind of have an informal interview, which inevitably ends up somehow we go from StarCraft and eventually end up somewhere talking about Indiana Jones and Spielberg movies. I don't know how it happens, so this can honestly go wherever.
That's fine with me. That's okay with me.
Yeah.
I'm totally good off topic. So.
Yeah. So anyway, it can go wherever. So Kyle, I know you had a couple open questions you wanted to ask.
Yeah, so when StarCraft 2 first got going, we had our first big MLGs and casted events. You were already there. So how'd you get there?
How did I get to
casting those? StarCraft came out, and you were already there. You were one of our big casters.
I mean, I guess I got there because I was casting for so many years before. Like the really, really, I guess, shortened version of the story is that I started off playing Quake 3. I eventually could not play anymore. I started commentating Quake 3. And then from there, I attended these events where it was Quake 3, it was Counter-Strike, it was Unreal Tournament, it was StarCraft Brood War, Warcraft 3, etc. All of these other games, and I just said, that the world of esports is a lot bigger than just Quake 3. And from there, I started exploring and getting involved in other communities and casting other games. But MLG specifically is kind of interesting because I basically said to MLG, like, I would love to come just cast for you guys and see how it goes. And so I'll just come out there. I don't, no payment. I want to show you guys what I can do for you. And that's actually how I ended up getting the job with MLG.
Nice. That's similar to we've had Clutch on many times, and he's like, I just brought a Blazer and was working as a camera guy.
Sometimes you just got to do it, man. You know.
Yeah, it's great. I always loved hearing those kind of stories. So, what's your favorite genre of game then? If you came in from Quake, and now you're primarily known as a StarCraft guy.
Sure.
Would you say your fandom has shifted to RTS, or are you still like an FPS fan at heart?
I feel like it's all over the place still, right? But I do have a really, really soft spot for FPS. The thing is like over the years, I feel like I've started to be attracted less to the game and more to the skill that is required to play the game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so, I love to blow people up with rocket launchers and railguns. Like Quake 3 will always be that game for me. But, I watch a game of StarCraft and there are things going on that make my head just blow up in amazement. And, when you look at the skill of every game and not necessarily the qualifications of whether or not it's a better game than this or that, then I think that you really can appreciate, what these players at the top level are doing.
Yeah, I would agree with that entirely. There's been very, very long stints for me where I have watched far more StarCraft than I have played StarCraft.
Yeah. Yeah. We all know those.
Yeah, which when the beta came out, it was like a foreign concept to me. I had barely any grasp on what esports even was. It's like, why would you watch a game that you could play, which has always been my argument about Madden.
Right.
And now I totally get it.
I totally understand, man. And you know what? It's great that you say that, and it's great that more people are getting it. I think even if we look at things like Twitch, and how big it is, 3 years ago, I don't know if any of us got it. I think all of us at one point said something to that effect,
Right.
But that exposure is really just kind of spreading like wildfire, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah. We took some questions from our forums, from Team Liquid, emails, etc. And one of the guys named Discarax actually wanted to ask you a question about Twitch TV. He said that it's just amazing, the business of Twitch TV. And he said in his opinion that it had single-handedly grown esports more than any other game, player, or event ever could. What is it like knowing you are part of that, and what are you most excited about every morning when you wake up to go to work?
I first off, I have to quantify this with a statement that it feels weird for me to talk about this a little bit because I do work for Twitch, obviously, and I do I do have a loyalty to Twitch, a belief in Twitch, and a passion for the company. So, with that being said, I have used Nullsoft Audio, Nullsoft Video, QuickTime Broadcaster. I've used Windows Media. We've broadcast with Stick'em, Ustream, Livestream, and now here we are on Twitch. And I feel like Ustream, back in the day, was a bit ahead of the curve when it came to technology and capabilities. But what happened is that Justin TV realized that, hey, we can make this gaming centric, and I think that's where honestly the real the real shit started blowing up. Really, is that when there was a focused community and group and a way for gamers and players and organizers to be together in a place that's not so foreign. Ustream was like, hey, let's go watch djWHEAT's live on 3. Yeah, it's right next to this. What the hell's this Eagle Cam? Like, that that always felt weird, right? And finally Twitch was the place where it made sense that that's where everyone was at. So, okay, now that I've said all of that, it's freaking amazing, you guys. Like, I do work some long hours. Sometimes I will wake up early on Saturday and Sunday just checking things out and doing emails. And, frankly, I still find myself subjecting myself to a lot of work. The difference between now and, say, when I had my bank jobs and I was trying to balance esports and banking or IT, if you will, now I get to do what I love. So it's pretty amazing feeling to be able to wake up and do that. Now, working at Twitch has the exact same hurdles and trials and tribulations as any other job as well. We do have a hierarchy of the way things happen and a process for achieving this and that. So, there's still challenges within the job despite the fact that it is, fantastic. Basically, it's not the grass is greener on the other side for sure, obviously, but like something like Twitch is like you're living your dream, and that's honestly all that matters. So I'm really appreciative to be working there.
That's badass. It's fun to hear people who are really passionate about their jobs. So obviously Kyle and I, we're just like, we got our day jobs, and then we come home and like, all right, what are we podcasting about today? I've been there, man. I appreciate that, more than anyone, because that was pretty much how I lived life for, 7, 8, 9 years. And I loved every second of it. I wouldn't give it up for anything.
There you go, Garrett. We're 1/3 the way there.
Never do that to yourself, Kyle. Never try to make a ruler of years based on other people's lives.
I know, right? Don't pick up a People magazine either, because then you see Biebers and Lady Gagas, and you go, wait a minute, 4 years younger than me? Oh, crap, I'm already ruined.
Why couldn't I have been thrown into the Disney assembly line?
Yeah, and spit out like everyone else. Another topic for another day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You could do a whole show.
So, oh man, I remember watching Justin TV when it was nothing but like the 24-hour South Park channel and the guy who was streaming Simpsons backwards because otherwise it would be taken down. How has that changed for you? I mean, clearly esports has grown. Was it StarCraft entering the scene that kind of made everything move a little faster?
I actually think that before StarCraft there was there was the fighting game community. We did see quite a few fighting game streams really start around even the Ustream, and right around when Justin and Twitch were starting to break off, and that was starting to form. Of course, I think what really happened with StarCraft 2 was the frequency of these major tournaments allowed, the esports ratings Richter scale to go off the charts every month. And that really, I think, helped with the growth overall. Around that, of course, you had all sorts of non-esports content popping up here and there, and then you can obviously start to track the entrance of League of Legends streaming, and even seeing the massive peak for the Season 2 finals. But I do think that between the fighting game community and between StarCraft 2, those were really two of the games that were there at the starting line when all this took off.
Do you have you mentioned League of Legends, do you have a MOBA of choice?
I definitely play League more than any other MOBA. Admittedly, I am interested in Zynga's Solstice Arena because the concept of a speed MOBA I think is really badass. The whole idea that you play it in like 5 to 7 minutes. I don't think that I don't know, I guess I should say, whether or not that has any sort of competitive implications at all, but it's fun as hell. So, that's, I think, what's important. I mean, in any MOBA right now, think about the top percentage of people who are actually able to compete. I appreciate that they let me level up through a ladder system and have a rank and whatnot, but I think realistically, I'm definitely playing them for fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know. You said Zynga made a MOBA. I did not even
know
that.
It actually comes out next month. It's very, very soon. They've been releasing more videos on it. It's called Solstice Arena. And, I mean, you're going to take a look at it and be like, it's very League of Legends-like, and it is. But released for iOS, I'm starting to sound like a commercial now, but I'm just excited because, I love to be – I'm a big mobile gamer. Like, people that know this about me, like, yes, I'll sit down and play a game for 6-7 hours, but at the same time, when I'm on the toilet, if I can play a MOBA game on the toilet for like 3-4 games, I'm in. I'm ship it my pot. I'm all over it. I like quick consumption of gaming like that, and that fulfills it. Like, there's no RTS sort of equivalent of that. There are some FPS equivalents, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that is an entire medium that has been just evolving rapidly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes, it's pretty nuts. So, pull another fan question here. Octane Pro asks, he said, first he started with a statement. He said that the StarCraft 2 scene has moved past its infancy and is slowly maturing as a scene. With that said, a small handful of casters make up the tournament scene. He wants to know what you think sets these casters apart from the others that keeps the demand for their content requested week in and week out.
There's so many things at this point in time. Some of it is the amount of work that they put on in the earlier stages of the game, dating all the way back to the Wings of Liberty beta. Some of it comes down to just having past experience broadcasting. Some of it comes down to just working your ass off and getting getting involved. Like, I think that what has happened is a set of casters that people are comfortable with, that people sort of grew up with StarCraft 2 with. It does make it a little bit difficult for a newer caster to try to break into the scene. I don't think it makes it impossible. I just think it makes it difficult. I mean, like, let's be realistic. Even some people might put me in this list of top casters, but as it stands, like, I'm not doing the majority of casting right now, and you could probably name the 5 to 7 people that are. There are less events because of WCS, but that means that the quality of everything goes up. So that will make it even more difficult for new casters to get in because there aren't quite as many competitions, I think, as there were before. And all the established competitions are obviously going to use a lot of the established talent that they have used for quite some time. So I'm not sure if you're asking if there is a solution to it. I definitely do feel like it is there. It's tough. It is a tough business. I do think the folks that do consistent content that stay relative, relative to the audience, it helps quite a bit. So in the grand scheme of things, I think that probably has quite a bit to do with the selection of a lot of the casters that are selected today.
Sure, it's still a new industry. You got to find what people are comfortable with and make them show up. But what was that like being a part of that group and seeing things evolve around you the last 2.5 years? I mean, you guys went from T-shirts to T-shirts with blazers and suddenly suits and ties. There had to be a lot going on in the background.
I don't know that there was as much as people might think. I mean, as far as specifics are concerned, like I still don't know that I'm totally sold on the whole concept of, having this, professional look. I guess I would prefer to, if you're going to do it, you might as well go all the way. Go with, go with the blazer, the tie, the suit. You might as well go for it. I don't know what the audience wants in that regard, or I don't think any organizations even know what the audience wants in that regard. I do not think that you would have 10,000 less people if suddenly I showed up in this. I actually don't. In fact, who knows? You might have a few because they're like, oh, I feel like they're not necessarily trying to shove this down my throat. Not saying that anyone is doing it wrong, but I guess what happened was is that, this tidal wave came along, and I'm like walking one direction. It's like, yeah, I don't care what you wear. And all of a sudden it's like, shirt time! Like, whoa, okay, man, whatever. So I guess, like, behind the scenes, like, I don't know that anyone necessarily cared. If anything, it was more like middle school girls, like, can you believe that they want us to wear this stuff all the time? And then it's like after an event, you deal with it. You're like, okay, I look pretty good in this, so let's just go with it. As far as everything else is concerned, a lot of those individuals I do consider close friends, and a lot of people might think like, God, it'd be awesome to hang out with Tasteless for a day, and trust me, it is. But I feel like nowadays it's like, oh, hey Nick, what's up? And like, how's everything? How's life? It's more like, yeah, how's mini weed? It's the time where we're like just friends and connect. And so for me, a lot of that time that was really special, and always will continue to be because every single one of them are stand-up guys.
That's good to hear. I've met a lot of you guys in passing, and no one's disappointed me. But suddenly, shirts and ties, you kill me with that. But yeah, I agree. I don't even think that our demographic knows what we want in terms of presentation either.
I get the fear though, like someone switching between channels or just, tuning into Twitch for a moment, and they go, well, there's all these streams of a guy singing from, well, wait a minute, these dudes are wearing ties. Well, they're worth listening to. Right,
and that might be part of it. I mean, it makes sense that we go towards the area that we're closest to, right? Sports. Right. What you see in a lot of the organizations is obviously what you see a lot of times in major sports broadcasts. You cannot fault anyone for that. It makes the most sense. But I mean, you're right, and I don't know if anyone is coming on Twitch and deciding what they are watching based off of what people are wearing.
Yeah.
So to me, it's always one of those things. It's like, whatever. You want me to wear that? Cool. You want me to wear that? Cool.
Yeah. And you can take that a step further and look at WCS as a whole, which has had a lot of negative and positive backlash since its announcement. And even though there was a bunch of negativity surrounding it when it was announced, it's still pulling in record views regardless of the fact. So, I think at the end of the day, as long as the games are good, no one really gives a crap.
Amen. I'm with you on that one.
So, actually, it's just on that subject of presentation and all that stuff. Kyle or Marcus, did you guys get to see the new show that Blizzard's doing? That's like a WCS wrap up.
Yeah, WCS today. It sounds a bit daunting. A big promise.
I mean, it was just WCS that day.
Yeah.
And it I guess it's now to the point where it's expected. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It wasn't something where it's like, man, I'm loving watching the WCS. What's this piece of content out of nowhere? Holy moly. It's like, no, this is actually, I think, what a lot of people were hoping would accompany the WCS when it was first announced. So I'm happy they've got it going. Hopefully we see a regular flow of content. But, for someone who wants just the little bite-sized package of what happened during that WCS EU finals, they did a fantastic job. Yeah. So I just hope that we see a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think consistency is the big thing. Because I remember, obviously, Kyle and I are really big into podcasts. And Blizzard had their own podcast called BlizzCast, and over the past 5 years, they've done maybe 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't go the way of BlizzCast.
Well, they've also been sitting on the IPL staff for a while, so we're waiting to see what happened.
True. That's true. They do. I have a lot more faith in this because of that fact that they opened up a new studio and all that. So I guess we'll have to see. So let's talk a little bit about content creation, because very rarely do we have people on here who are other content creators. So I want to just geek out with you for a little bit about that.
Sure,
I think the last guy we had on was the guy who does StarCrafts. That was fun. But one of the questions we got for you was what was it? Here it is. Sorry. That as one of the largest and most popular content producers in the StarCraft 2 scene, in your opinion, what sets your content apart from others that makes you so successful?
I think one of the things that sets apart my content from a lot of the other content, first and foremost, I have a lot of history doing said content, and so I think that brings a level of legitimacy. Typically, if I'm going to do something or do a broadcast, people know what they're going to get out of it. They're going to get some sort of quality program. It's going to look decent. It's going to sound decent. Hopefully, it's entertaining. And, ultimately, I just try to create content that I myself feel like I would sit down and watch. And I don't always hit the mark. In fact, sometimes we're way off. But that's part of the fun of being a content creator, is that you get to try different things. You get to explore different avenues. Sometimes you choose to do these things, and sometimes you don't. A great example would be the fact that, I lost a longtime co-host, Sir Scoots, live on 3, and it meant that we had to sort of rethink how we were going to look at and approach the show. Some shows, after that much time, might have just said, what, we can't do it anymore. But we said, hey, how are we going to take advantage of this? And we have by sort of introducing new co-hosts every week. And I think that it's actually been quite great. Start off a little rocky, as any new ideas do. But, that's just being confident in my content and continuously making content, I think, are some of the things that set it apart. There's a lot of people out there that have better production than I do. Might have a better, theme song than I do. I don't know. But I will always be here. I will always be creating content. People can go I wonder what djWHEAT's doing this week, and you'll be able to find out. And I think that consistency has set me apart over the years.
Oh, that's good to hear. Where do you? I mean, I don't know how much other people's content you watch and podcasts and live streams and whatnot. But where do you think? Do you see it progressing any further? Because I remember when all this people started doing shows like this and like what you do. I mean, it was rough. It was just I'm just gonna throw up 4 webcams with a Microsoft Paint background, and here we go. Do you see it progressing further than it has already? Because I mean,
sure.
Last year it's been insane to watch. God bless XSplit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an anomaly, right? Because good production is often praised, and every single time you have better production, people expect that that the bar gets raised. At the same time, there's also a certain level of crudeness that is almost appreciated when it comes to, let's just say, the Twitch audience overall. There's tons of streams that are incredibly popular that don't have the greatest looking graphics right now, or You know, might just be a StarCraft pro who just like plops his webcam wherever he feels like. You know, you got some guys that got the elaborate, you know, pro DOS things like going on. It's that's fascinating to me as well. So yeah, I do think it will always be progressing, but I think that because we are gamers, like maybe we don't expect everything to be bright lights, big stage. So there's still an appreciation for that, and I'm totally fine with that.
It's funny that you bring up the level of crudeness that's almost expected. 'Cause there seems to be this major difference between what, say, the YouTube community expects and what the Twitch TV community expects, which is funny because obviously we throw all of our VODs over on YouTube, but. Yeah, because everything over YouTube seems to be like, at least stuff that does very well, very crisp, well edited. Could pretty much go to television, and then a lot of stuff on Twitch.
Right.
Yeah, Twitch, it's just like, just live to hard drive. Whatever happens stays, and we'll run with it.
And I kind of grew up that way. Like in my grand, you know, scheme of streaming career, like I started off on internet radio. We just flipped the switch and started talking and went live. Like, you know, so I get where you're coming from. It's weird because I'm just like, I'd rather do it live. You know, I'll cut little things. I love to edit too and put videos up, but I just laugh every single time. It's like here's an interview with this guy. It's 20 minutes. They're like, man, you should have made this like 4 minutes. It's just like, sorry, bro. Next time, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the unedited crap. That's I like some of my favorite podcasts. They're interviews, but it's seriously like just two dudes just sat on the couch, cracked open a beer, and talked about whatever they wanted to. So I always enjoy that kind of stuff.
No.
But yeah. So we talked a little about WCS, so I guess I want to circle back to that real quickly. How do you? I mean, like I said, when it was first announced, a lot of negativity. We're almost a full season in for all 3 different regions. How do you feel about that as a whole?
You know, I think that where things are at and how things have gone, first and foremost, pretty good. I have been watching a shitload of StarCraft, let me tell you. Doesn't matter what region, it feels really good. Just be like, what's on now? What's on now? And honestly, that's kind of how it was during the LCS, the first half of the season. That was on pretty regularly, watching it twice a week, and it was the same thing for WCS. So in terms of trying to achieve that, they did it. There was a lot of content, a lot to consume. Loved every minute of it. Great storylines, etc. With all that being thrown out there, you know, I do still feel like there's some issues that, you know, I don't know that they'll be solved with time. I don't know if they will be solved with a reevaluation of how everything works. But I also feel like I want to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt and at least let it go to the BlizzCon finals. You know, where 3 seasons have been played out. I think that, you know, by then, a lot of the, you know, hurdles have been jumped, walls have been climbed, mistakes have been made and hopefully learned from, and we really get to see what the future of the WCS is. The fact that the starting pistol went off and WCS didn't fall on their faces is awesome. And from here, I just hope that it continues to improve, and I do have faith that, you know, they will evaluate those things and they will, you know, make it better because it's their best interest too, obviously.
Yeah. So I guess as the bigger picture, do you see, or would you like to see esports as a whole move more towards this unified structure?
Here's a reason. Here's a reason why.
You sound like me trying to answer that question.
I've been involved with unified structures before. Some with success, and others not so much. There's something to be said about the security that something like Riot managing their own LCS or Blizzard managing WCS can bring to everything. a team, a player, a commentator, a journalist, a guy that works on the production, a guy who takes photographs for it all. When the company gets behind it, that's going to add not only a level of legitimacy, but I think stability that we oftentimes lack in esports. So that's a great thing. I think the way that the question gets asked is it the right way? And I don't know that anyone has found out the right way, because for as many people that have gone this route, that both Blizzard, Riot, and even Valve are going, have failed badly and not recovered. So you always have to keep in mind that there have been some failures in the past. Right now, they're hitting home runs, though. So this could be the model that really begins to dictate. I mean, World of Tanks is going that way too. So, but then it becomes a model that typically is only reserved for the rich, and I'm not sure that that's right. You know, if that the rich, let's put the bunny ears around that.
I gotcha. It's hard enough to get 4 people together. They got 4 different organizations to work together. That takes a lot of money being thrown.
Yeah, absolutely. If an indie title comes out that's an FPS deathmatch game and it's the greatest thing ever, Bill and Tommy that made it in their garage, they're not going to have the millions of dollars to throw behind it, but it might be just as good of a competitive title. So, the model of esports still has to exist out there, right? Like a DreamHack would be like, that's a great game, we've got to pick it up. That's the one thing that I always kind of fear in a unified model across the board.
Yeah. While we're talking about other esports styles, I mean, you pay a lot of attention to a lot of other games happening out there. What is StarCraft like to them, and what perhaps can StarCraft learn from other esports going right now?
I mean, I think every single game, every single community has something to take away from from each other's communities. I'll give a couple of examples and recent ones that I really feel like, for me, that I just kind of make me scratch my head a little bit. So, I'm a mid-core fighting game fan, right? Like, I don't dedicate my weekends to watching streams, but if there are streams on or there are finals going on that I know of, I'm in it. I'm watching. The one thing that annoys the hell out of me is that in Dota 2, in League of Legends, in StarCraft 2, I can all go to these amazing wiki pages, and I can look up so much information, and I can find out picks and bans, and I can find out the maps they played on and the order they played and who picked who, whatever. And in the fighting game community, it's like impossible to find this out. So I have to go to the one place I know, has a thread. For me, I really would like to see a fighting game wiki to the same level that these other games do. Like, they have so much competition, so much history on these players, and it just kills me that it hasn't been done. On the same token, I think that the fighting game community, having come to a few StarCraft events, showed the StarCraft 2 crowd what it's like to get hype. And I do think that there's been some rub-off there, and I think that that's super awesome to see. Same thing goes with League of Legends. Marn was involved. The fighting game guys got involved with that. So, there's always something. But I think more than anything, I just wish that people would have, at least some level of appreciation that everyone's sort of fighting the same fight. It might be for a different game, but everyone's kind of fighting the same good fight.
One of the fan questions we got was from a dad, and he wanted to ask, he said, I'm a family man like you. What would you say are the biggest sacrifices and benefits that people working in esports have when it comes to family?
I mean, for me, I work remotely, so I get a lot of family time, and this is really great compared to what it used to be like, where I felt like I was constantly choked away my family time. And so, over the past year, I've had the opportunity to take my wife to a few more esports events and Mini-Wheat, James, to a few more esports events. That has been really special for me because although my wife has traveled with me before, In fact, my mom even came to an esports event last year. So, it was finally a moment where I was able to share, obviously, a huge part of my life with the family. So, in terms of now, it's really kind of interesting because, I work my normal job. It kind of happens anywhere and everywhere, but I have an office, and then the family knows it's showtime. I usually do some weekend streaming. They're all really cool about it. James streams himself sometimes. But it's just gotten a lot easier since I've been, able to focus on esports as a full-time job and more with streaming with Twitch, but also with one more game as well.
What was it like? Sorry, I was just saying, what was it like bringing your mom to an esports event? What did she have to say?
It was awesome. It was totally awesome. I mean, it's funny because back in 2002, I remember the phone call, man. I remember calling my mom and being like, "Oh man, she's gonna love this." Like, "Mom, I'm going to Korea," and she's like, "Really?" And then she's like, "For gaming?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going over there." And from that point on, it just became normal. And I can't really explain it, but it's just like, then she'd be like, "Where are you at now, honey?" It's like, oh, she's called me so many times, and I've been in a different country, a different city. It's just normal to her. So I think for her, it was really cool to get to go and meet a lot of the people that I've talked about over the years, or that I would want to introduce to. To Sean, Day 9, a few of the other casters. I mean, Tasteless met her a long time ago, I think, actually. It's really awesome. Really cool.
That's nice. I'd love to drag my one of my parents to to like an MLG or something, just to be like, do you get it now?
Yeah, it is weird. But I do hope that everyone gets that opportunity sometime.
Yeah.
I really do.
It'd be fun stuff. Another one of the questions we got, which was kind of off topic, was a guy asking if mini-wheat still played Zerg, and if he can expect more mini-wheat training episodes.
So mini-wheat has bounced back and forth from a few different races. He's gone to Terran a few times and back to Zerg. And I think right now mini-wheat is going through another one of his gaming phases. And he plays StarCraft about once a week. So I'm in the process of trying to get him back in. He's much more teachable now, which, a lot of people are like, let's see more. It's like, man, what we did was hard enough, like getting it out of a 5-year-old. Now that he can read a little bit, he's a little bit more interested. He's a bit more patient, and that's the thing. The patience and the urgency is the toughest thing to teach a 5-year-old. So now that he's 7 and now going on 8, urgency is a little bit, it's a little bit easier to explain. It's like, how do you explain to a 5-year-old, like, just play faster, just faster? Like, what? Now you can understand. It's like, okay, if you don't make your units fast enough, then he's going to beat you because he's going to have more units. It's like suddenly that little first grade math starts going off in his head. He's like, 5 plus 4. Oh my God, I get it now. So hopefully soon, but it's still, I want him to do it just because his mouse and keyboard skills are amazing these days. Like, they're incredible. Plays FPS is like they're nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Has that kid endurance, too. Can sit there all day and play.
It's pretty true, man. It is.
Next week on some newscast will be like, this father who's in esports made his child sit in a cave playing StarCraft for 8 hours.
That's not made, man. Banjo-Kazooie, like 13 hours a day.
As a father and a Zerg player, are you more disappointed when your son lies to you, or when he picks Terran?
No, he can do whatever he wants. Man, I just want him to have fun, dude. If that means he's going to play Protoss, that's cool too. I always, when it comes to gaming and him, like, of course, for example, I play some Minecraft with him, and I'm like, let's go do this, and suddenly realize it's like, you know what? He has fun building giant mountains of TNT and just blowing them up. Like, okay, let's run with it. So I just let him do his own thing. when it comes to gaming. And I think that sort of competitive fire will come naturally as it did, with myself as well.
I think if Minecraft had been around when I was younger, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd have accomplished anything.
Sure,
Yeah,
you
me
didn't have
neither.
to clean up your toys.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you leave it on a server somewhere, come back and pick up where you left off. It's a hell of a game. So,
It's so great. It's so great.
So we got some wonderfully off-topic questions. We were talking Walking Dead off stream because of your shirt. I know one of them was, I think a guy asked what your most played song was on iTunes, which is a fun assumption. I have no idea if you actually use iTunes.
I do not use iTunes. I am an old school Winamp
Oh, nice.
user, and
snap.
I don't know that it keeps track of that stuff.
Eat that llama.
Well, do you
Yeah.
have a favorite band or group? Or
Do
solo
I have
artist?
a favorite band or group?
Yeah.
Not really. There's just so many different. I mean, I guess if you're going to be like, look, Wheat, you're about to leave in 30 seconds for an island, and you basically grab what you can, but it can only be one artist, and you take it with you, and you can take their whole discography. What do you want? I feel like I would go for Prodigy, like the entire discography of Prodigy. It really sort of defines my musical tastes as electronic music was born back in the early, I guess late 80s, early 90s. And I'm very fond of electronic music, and I would be completely content with that. So I'll go with that for my answer.
Cool. That works.
Awesome.
Oh, great. So we were talking Walking Dead and whatnot. What any shows you're enjoying right now on TV?
Oh God. Let's see. So Arrested Development.
I just finished it last night.
I'm halfway through. I'm loving it. I won't give any spoilers, but I really appreciate how they've just decided to layer a lot of the jokes and how it's all unfolding. But loving that. So with that, I'd never watched Community. Holy shit, where was I? So I'm now catching up with Community. In fact, we slowed down on Arrested Development because we're just like, the more Arrested Development we watch, the closer we are to the last one. So there's a lot of communities. We should just watch all these. So, but I'm also a big reality TV guy. When I say a big reality TV guy, I've cut back a lot. I used to watch a lot of shit. Now it's like Big Brother, huge fan of. I will go on that show one day and win it. Survivor, big fan of Survivor. Occasionally like Amazing Race, that sort of a thing. But you could, Game of Thrones, Spartacus, Justified, Sons of Anarchy, pretty much anything that's good FX. I'll jump on board. I do like me some television, so
I'm gonna dig even deeper into off topic here, just because. Did you finish Spartacus? Because
I have not yet. Actually, I have 3 episodes left.
Okay,
so.
my girlfriend and I were watching it when it was going episode per episode in the final season on Stars, and the last 2 episodes ran into Game of Thrones, and I honestly didn't like the last season that much, so we canceled Stars and started HBO.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I feel like the only reason I'm watching Spartacus is to kind of go through the motion, right? Like I've already accepted the fact that this was supposed to be 3 seasons longer than it now is, and they're just going to kind of crap out an ending. Like so be it. It's happened many times to many shows, but
yeah, it's sad because I almost feel the same way about Walking Dead. This last season, I was towards the end, I was just getting like, really? But it's like, oh, I've already seen everything else. I'm a big fan of the books. I just have to see where it goes.
That's why everyone should read the book. If you have ever once said, God, I don't like that aspect of The Walking Dead, whether you've read it or not, that means you should read the books. I finally got my wife to read it. She'd watch the show like pretty religiously. I finally got my wife to read. Actually, I got her started on Invincible, and then she read Walking Dead, and she's just, it's like one of these where it's like closes the book what the fuck were they thinking? You know, like and I'm like, good for you, honey. Like, that's right. You get behind it. So I still love the show. I'll still watch it.
That's great. Yeah, two of my proudest moments with my girlfriend has been she'd never read a comic book in her life, and I gave her the first volume of Walking Dead, and then she just tore through it. So for her birthday, I bought her the first 2 compendiums. And then the other one was, she's not a big gamer, and when Skyrim came out, I actually came in to do StarCast, and I came out, and she had stolen my gaming computer and was playing Skyrim, and I'm just like, Citizen Kane clap. Was so happy.
By the way, you guys, there is, in my opinion, I feel like there is, if anyone has a girlfriend out there, maybe a wife, she's got a little bit of, nerdy in her, like geeky, whatever. I feel like Saga will get girls into comic books really easy. I don't know if you guys read it. It's by Brian K. Vaughan. It's called Saga. I'm telling you, man, right now they're only up to like issue 16. The second trade's about to come out. But it just like, boom, got my wife hooked like that.
Yeah,
that's too funny. Kristen just bought that.
What, Saga?
Yeah.
It's so good. It appeals to men, women, like my wife just laughed so hard while she read it. I was like, dude, I done good.
You are the second person this week to recommend that book to me, so I'm definitely gonna have to pick that up.
So great.
I see it every time I go to my local comic store because the issue 1 cover is so weird. It's like, why is there a fairy woman with a goat boy?
Oh man, there's really not been a universe as imaginative as this. As I think, even back to Star Wars, like there's just something about the characters, the universe, the feel, the art. It feels epic, if you will,
Oh, it's just it's nice to be out of, the dwarves and elves for a bit too, as well as be treated like an adult while you're reading a comic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's wonderful. People in the chat room saying there's too much video media to go back to comic books. How
oh my
wrong
God,
you are.
there is so much good I mean, like, I cannot believe even now how much I am rediscovering things that I never got, or because when I was younger, or I would go through periods of my life where I wasn't collecting. Like, I mean, for example, like I'm going back and reading Garth Ennis's and Steve Dillon's Punisher line on Max, and this is the guys that did Preacher, and it's so freaking good. And I'm just like, dude, I can't believe this is 10 years ago, I never read it. Like, it's amazing. And there's just always something. I'm always finding something else to read. And trades are the way to go. Like, I think a lot of people still think it's individual comics.
I
in
can't
some cases
do that.
It is.
There's not enough in a single issue of a comic. Like, it'll drive me insane.
Yeah, it's tough. So if you go the trade route, you're going to have a different comic book experience, I think. So,
Yeah, that's funny.
Speaking of missing out on things, Garrett, you only got into Magic the Gathering, 2 months ago?
Yeah, no, about 5 months ago for my birthday.
Okay.
Our buddy Ben got me a starter box.
Hey, no late time, man.
That game has consumed me.
Yeah. It's fun. You know what really like makes the true Magic addiction comes when you start to get competitive with your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
That's in college for me. It was like, at first it's like cool Magic. Yeah, I've heard about it, I've seen it a few times. Then it's like suddenly you're playing and and it becomes a weekly thing, and then it's like your reputation for the week is on the line. Like, you are not going to lose. Put your life into this game, and yeah, I love that aspect.
That's all I'm thinking when I'm seeing the new Super Smash Bros. Advertisements go off. I'm like, you're about 7 years late here.
Yeah, my buddy got the new Planeswalker, and we played a couple weeks ago, and he got it out, and I killed it in the next turn. I was so happy. It's like, yeah, what? So,
all these newfangled cards.
Oh yeah, I forgot, Kyle. You don't like
you
don't like multicolored decks.
Yeah, bring me some Urza. Let's do this.
It is funny for anyone that played back in the day, the mid 90s, whereas like, trample was the new thing. Like, dude, have you heard there's trample? I was like, well, what the hell is trample? Like,
did you see this card art? It's slightly decent.
Yeah.
I went over to one of my old friends this past weekend. I hadn't seen him forever, and he used to play Magic back in the day. And he had heard I got back into it. He hasn't played in a while. I was like, well, just here's my old cards. The art is awful. It is so bad.
There's some gems. There's some gems all around.
It's great.
So you got into Magic for your birthday, huh?
Well, it was totally one of those like double-edged sword birthday gifts. My buddy had recently gotten back into it. He had played throughout high school and whatnot, and he was just like, "So I need someone to play with. So happy birthday! Here's a starter box."
Smart friend.
Yeah,
Smart friend.
Yeah, and he sent me the Steam game Duel of Planeswalkers.
Honestly, that's a great way to learn Magic for anyone who's never tried. I mean,
it's a gateway drug.
It is. It absolutely, man. That will get you in, and I constantly encourage people to try it out.
Yeah, exactly. Like it takes all the hump that you need to get over out of the game, because it's like, here's a pre-made deck, and it won't let you do anything that you wouldn't be able to do.
Right. And you could kind of like play a deck for styles, which I think is really important, so that people can understand that when they draw and when they play these types of competitions, and they can create a style that fits their play type. And I think that's awesome. Like, I love super aggro, like tick damage builds and stuff. So I just think that's super awesome. And let me go off topic for a second. What do you guys think of Hearthstone?
I'm actually really excited for it. I'm a Blizzard fan. I like Warcraft. I like
of course.
Diablo. I like Starcraft. Posters behind me, but yeah, no. At first, I mean, it was funny when they announced it. Everyone was like, "What the hell?" But I was sitting there like, "Dude, it's PAX. They're not going to announce freaking Titan at PAX."
Right.
So I'm excited for it. A free-to-play card battle game made by the folks who have made some of my favorite games. I'm all in.
And the card game was decent. I played the trading card game when it first came out for about until they went to the Burning Crusade expansion.
This seems like it's going to be a lot more simplified.
Oh, very, yeah. So
the card game is kind of nuts.
I do recall playing it a couple of times. I think only because I got some cards from BlizzCon, and maybe played a few times. But there are a enormous amount of new trading card games, both virtual and real, coming out. Like, it seems to be finding maybe a new popularity. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was funny because right around the time my buddy got me into Magic, all of a sudden Day 9 started doing Magic the Gathering dailies. And I'm just like, oh, well, perfect timing. Thank you, Sean.
Well, now board games as well have just been exploding.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of a board game store existing without comic books, it couldn't have happened 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of Hex?
Is that the one that Cryptozoic is doing?
Yeah.
And it's the MMO card game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just listened to a podcast with the lead guy on that the other day. It sounds like a new crack.
I love guys that sort of take concepts that we're all familiar with and love, and then are like, and here's something new, and I feel like that's it. It's definitely something I'm really curious about. So
yeah, when the guy said, "Well, it's digital, so we can have like 3-sided cards," my mind fell out of my ear.
It's like, yeah, that's pretty badass.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So Kyle, I can see Kyle violently Googling over there.
There's something else that I hope that Hex and games like it do for trading card games, and that is that as much as I love Magic, and I do, obviously the concept of playing with cards is much different than playing digital or virtually, but the Magic the Gathering online client, it's really terrible. I mean, especially when you look at Planeswalker and you're like, this is great. Why isn't every Magic? Yep. But it's pretty well known in the Magic community. But I would hope that this kind of thing would definitely make them step up a little bit. Because I do know that people really want that, and I mean, this just looks amazing. So
yeah, I just recently got into the proper online client for Magic, and it is a mess.
Well, that's Wizards of the Coast in general. I mean, they were promising like a tabletop version you could use with D&D 4.0 that never came out, and that was 4 years ago now.
Yep. Yeah. Oh well, what you gonna do? Before we move back into some StarCraft news, we do emails at the end of the show, but one of them was Magic related, so I'll just ask it right now. What was the guy's name to give him credit? Cole asked what Magic decks that we play with. So Marcus, since I know you play now, what deck are you rocking?
I mean, I'm going to be really bad at this, but basically, like I said, I like to play a lot of instant damage decks, a lot of like minion-based red decks and stuff. So that's just kind of what I prefer. I have not done much with Gatecrash at all, so I know that I'm a bit behind in the times right now.
Yeah, Dragon's Maze just came out. I just played my first tournament when that came out. Actually, it was rough. Kyle, what do you? I know you're a little behind too, but what do you usually play? You play a zombie deck, right?
Yeah, but when you get right down to it, I'm a macro Zerg man. And if I could go 5 turns with nothing but like laying extra land and drop a 7/7, I'm happy.
I played with a Gruul deck against my girlfriend last night, and I played a 6-drop on my 4th turn. I was so excited because I just got all my mana accelerators that I wanted out. I was just like, yes. But no, I've been playing with an Orzhov deck lately and just been extorting everyone to death. That's been fun.
Your newfangled abilities. I'll get back in once these multicoloreds are out.
Yeah, when you're down here for your wedding, dude, you're not getting married. We're just going to play Magic all weekend, okay?
Dude, I'm hoping you guys don't go and get a stripper or something, because that's D&D Magic time.
Unless the stripper knows how to roleplay, I have no interest in her.
Exactly. Wait a minute. You might want to add a paragraph instead of just a short statement.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, wow. Someone's going to audio cap that. That's great. Our little podcast editor, that's so going to be his new ringtone for when I call. So we talked enough Magic. Let's talk some of the news from this week. So Protoss might be getting a little bit of a buff here. We got the new balance test map coming up. So David Kim took to the forums this past week and said that they're going to try buffing warp prisms, starting it off with a upgraded speed to kind of put it in line with the medevac. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
If they put this change in, I'm just gonna play Protoss for a week and just use warp prisms nonstop. I mean, warp prisms are great already. I love them. They're fantastic. To make them just fast little speed demons, when I'm a Protoss, that's going to be even better. But when I'm not, it's going to really, really suck. So I don't know. It seems like even with Zerg, like it's becoming more and more apparent that spore crawlers just have to go up. It's like, are you putting a hatchery down? Is your hatchery done? Does it have a spore crawler? We're seeing that already, for things like Oracles and Phoenix play anyway, but maybe be adding a second one now, because I got to imagine that Warp Prism play will increase dramatically. But I still think it's kind of a weird change, because I'm not sure how that's going, to change much, other than Protosses now deal with or have faster Warp Prism, and everyone else deals with it. So,
yeah, to put this in perspective, the movement speed is being increased. For this test map, the upgrade on the robotics bay is going to go away, and the acceleration is going to be increased. So this is matching it exactly with the Oracle speed right now. Kind of scary.
They're going to be pretty peppy.
Yeah, I am sad though that we haven't seen much to do with the warp prisms, because the idea that they can power cannons or something like that is awesome. And I'd love if like a pylon got taken out and it was that, the one pylon powering 6 gates, if someone would just fly in with a prism and just power those up, it'd be the coolest thing. Never happens.
Yeah.
That is an interesting scenario. I've never thought of that.
I mean, do you think we'll maybe also see multi-pronged warp prism drops. Because right now, warp prism drops are pretty static. It's like there's two ways to perform it. You warp some units in outside the base, you pick them up, bring them in, drop, do another warp in. Or, maybe you're just like sending it in and warping units in and going. Sometimes then you take it back down and put it on the high ground. But maybe we will start to see, multiple angles of attack more. But, I don't know. It's just odd that the speed would actually do anything other than just increase the use of it.
Yeah. It's going to bring a lot of attention to it, and I think that's one of the things they really try here, like reducing the cost of the burrow a few weeks ago. It didn't do anything, it didn't go live, but hey, I see a lot more pro players using burrow pretty early on now. Yeah. So it puts it in people's minds. If you're going to change anything about it, it seems like you would want to change maybe the transformation time, because that would actually encourage more use. This seems like you're helping everyone out globally by saying, well, if you aren't paying attention and it goes in and starts getting hit by that spore crawler you were talking about, at least it can get away now and has higher acceleration to get out.
Right. It'll be a lot harder for them to... They could probably bring it in, start warping in, cancel, and still get out of there and be like, oh, I just took a little hull damage. It's all good. It's no big deal.
Throw a Band-Aid on that. We're good.
I mean, remember, they used to be little Kleenex boxes, so
I remember when that original buff to their hit points came in, all of us were just like, it's over. We're just, this is going to be warp prisms everywhere. And, well, much like you were saying when we first started talking about this change, Marcus, is that everyone just eventually adjusts to the change.
Right.
So, I don't know. It seems subtle. If they gave them, like, a boost similar to the medevac, then I'd be kind of miffed, because it's like, well, then you're just leveling the playing field. There's no point for the medevac to have the boost.
Yeah.
The concern is that Protoss are trapped in their base. I still don't know if this is the right way to go about it, but what else do you do? They already reduced the cost of DTs so that you could kind of sneak in there.
Yeah, that was another one I remember when they said that. Everyone was just crying like, this is over. It's going to be nothing but DTs. But yeah, no, I like these balanced test maps in general. I'm glad they started doing these. So
it is important to note too that it is like a balance map, right? So get out there, try it out, see what you say. I've seen a couple people make videos already. They're like, love it, put it in. It's not very often you get a change so widely accepted, at least obviously by the Protoss community. So, but yeah, check it out.
Yeah. And then, we already talked about WCSDA, the new show from Blizzard. I'm not going to talk about that again. The ladder lock's coming in for Season 3. Nothing really special there. And then, it's pretty much confirmed MLG Anaheim is going to have StarCraft. What did I think Sundance said 99% sure?
99% sure.
Yeah, we were joking before the show that it's going to be a Nexus Wars tournament. That'd be great.
Yep. It could happen.
So, did you guys watch the WCS Europe finals this week? Well, Season 1 finals?
Absolutely. What about you guys?
I caught the first half of the finals, and then I got called away, so I ended up watching the wrap-up show by Blizzard, which filled in the gap pretty well, actually.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
But
it was...
how are you guys feeling about nothing but Koreans winning all the regions?
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I was really hoping to see good StarCraft. I think we got some.
Yeah.
I was definitely loving several of the games. That Damaga series versus MVP and the crazy game on Newkirk was just totally insane. And I think it showed a lot in terms of skill, in terms of patience, compositions. What you can and cannot do as a Terran who's only on 4 bases and starving is really incredible. Final was a little bit crazy because it started off and I was like, oh my God, maybe this is it. And then it just sort of was like, nope, U-turn, MVP, boom.
Yeah.
So that wasn't surprising once it started happening. But of course, like inside, my little excitement meter's like going up and up as Stefano takes game one. I'm like, oh my god,
This is going to be a great story.
Yeah,
Well,
by the time it's 2-1, I'm like starting to deflate a little bit, and eventually you're that balloon that just.
Well, and the casters are like regretfully talking about MVP some more. They were, I mean, going for.
You can tell the who the casters are rooting for always.
Yeah,
You can
it
hear the tone-
happens.
The
It
shift
happens.
in their voice. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I find it really interesting. At times, I almost wish they would be 100% biased and just be like, MVP, that son of a bitch.
Taking it away from him.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of credit thrown MVP's way for these games. They were like, wow, look at all the amazing different builds he has. Yes, he didn't do the same thing twice, but it was all just different ways to get Hellbats, in my opinion.
Game
good.
2 was a really awesome mech game. It's
It's great to see some tanks and hard at the Swarm finally.
It was like a whole map's worth.
I know.
Yeah.
That's Liberty.
Yeah, I don't.
God, and how many died too? Like that
he
was
lost
amazing.
I couldn't
Oh my
believe he
God.
ended up winning that because usually you lose that many tanks and it's just over.
So crazy.
But yeah, but hey Kyle, I'm sure you were partying in game 1 because we got to see Ultralisk play. So
Dude, I love that style.
I can hear you cheering from Chicago anytime
Oh,
Ultralisk
yeah.
happen in a pro game.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
we were watching the GSL last week and seeing Ultralisk go up against roaches and win for once without fungals. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
The way it should be.
New Ultra is great.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Obviously, we're just kind of waiting for the Premier League finals for Korea, but there were some up and down matches. I know, Kyle, you and I were both pretty disappointed this week because we're MKP and DRG fans.
Man,
They're not doing so hot.
No, we have a lot of new guys, which is great, and I'm loving everything they're bringing to the scene. But I got to find a new favorite here. It's breaking my heart. And some of these,
What about innovation? Can't he
yeah,
feel some?
Listen to our last 2 episodes. I'm talking
okay.
about building a church to him.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I got to find a new Zerg here. But man, what is it about this Switch that isn't allowing some old pro gamers just to not get what's going on?
What do you mean?
I mean, you got like a DRG MKP going to Code A.
Yeah.
It's a different world, and it seemed like, I don't know, maybe the pressure's on, like they're doing it to themselves. It has nothing to do with their play. They're just like, well, I was a champion Wings of Liberty, but this is hard to the Swarm.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I mean, a lot of people did say, keep in mind that Heart of the Swarm was going to, increase that micro push a little bit, and it was going to reward those who, who had great micro. And I think that it's still a tough thing to argue, but if you do look at some recent results and you look at some of the guys that are really, really killing it and taking it home, are a lot of the Brood War guys that had an immense focus on that could ultimately decide battles. And so, I guess it's not surprising anymore.
Yeah,
I guess it's more surprising the other way, which is weird, but I don't know.
Kespa's just smashing face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they are.
It's pretty nuts.
That's a good point. Because with the DRG game for his up and downs, he didn't even notice the drops incoming, and that could be it. I mean, you just old macro Zergs just are used to breaking the front door down at about minute 30.
Right, calling it good. You definitely have to have some hella good map awareness right now versus a Terran if you're a Zerg.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't that great to begin with, then yikes.
Yeah, and DRG was really never known for going up to Hive Tech, so
No,
he's still kind of struggling with it seems like he's struggling with kind of being stuck in his old ways.
Yeah, I was hoping the new Muta change would just send him to new heights.
Yeah. Alas. That's no good. Who's kind of your fan favorite right now, Marcus?
I mean, out of in terms of anyone,
Just in general, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because I don't know how to define a fan favorite. Like, obviously, I go into every tournament and I'm looking, for someone to win. But there's also like fan favorites of like whose streams do I watch, and I've been watching a lot of my top 3 streams for the week are for StarCraft 2 are Pain User, Idra, and Select. So I gotta say, Select has been getting a lot of my eyeballs lately. Like just watching him play, it's cool to watch him rediscover the game. He's always been a great player. It's cool to see him struggle, and then overcome. So he's really, I mean, is he going to go on to win, WCS? I don't know. But I think that's what's so great about StarCraft is that, I might have a different favorite every single week. But obviously, like Kyle, I tend to lean towards the Zergs a little bit more. But I do like watching Innovation play, man. It's a cyborg robot learning computer, man. He's just, I like that dude.
It's like watching the second Terminator movie when the T-2000 is just running down a cop car. You're just like, it's over. This isn't working.
No. Yeah. In
GG.
trouble.
Thumbs
In
up
trouble.
into the fire.
Yeah, it's no good. So yeah, the finals for WCS Korea are going to be this Saturday. Looking forward to that. The American finals are going on. It also starts Saturday and runs through Sunday. MLG's putting that on. Are you doing any work with that, Marcus?
No, I'll be. Well, yes, I will be. Work like this. Like I'll be drinking. I'll be batting my eyelids because I'll be watching the whole damn thing. So that is what I will be doing working. Yeah, I will be working to keep my eyes open because, of course, it's literally going to go the Season 1 finals for WCS Korea. And then, like 4 or 5 hours later, that's when MLG or the MLG WCS AM finals will begin. So I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Good weekend.
Yeah, it's a good weekend to be a StarCraft fan for sure. So we're getting to the end of the show here. So chat room, if you guys have any questions for our guest Marcus, do so now. Is there anything coming up, djWHEAT, that you wanted to promote or talk about?
So there's a couple things. I guess this Sunday there's going to be a Star Strikers tournament put on by Chanman V. Want to take this opportunity to call out Suppy and Sasquatch. We, and when I say we, I mean myself, Wax Steven, and the entire world, are coming after you. And we're going to crush you. And honestly, I don't want to face you until the finals. So if either of us meets in group play, I expect us to both just GG and settle it like men in the finals. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be Sunday. And I think everyone's going to be kind of doing some streaming. So it should be a pretty good time. And hopefully it will be done or it'll start and not overlap with WCS NA. I'm working on a couple side projects. One of them, most notably, with Mr. JP McDaniels. You guys might know him. It Me JP, and we're going to be running a pilot pretty soon for something not esports related. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But the shows are just kind of continuing on as usual. I've been doing a little bit more content on YouTube as well as streaming more regularly. I've been doing on Sundays, been doing like subscriber games and giveaways. It's been a lot of fun and continue to do that. So you can find all my work either at twitch.tv/OneMoreGame TV or twitch.tv/djWHEAT.
Sweet. I hope the show with JP is a Magic the Gathering show.
It's not. It's
damn.
not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're getting some. I love that there's a Star Strikers tournament. By the way, I hope we get more custom maps that can be competitive like that. And we get to see some more casual tournaments. That stuff's really fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, so some of the chat room questions. One person asked what your favorite non-StarCraft stream is.
My favorite non-StarCraft stream is probably Baza87. who runs the video game wrestling championship. Other than that, I love to watch Man versus Game. He's totally, he's the bomb. And I also watch a lot of mid players in League of Legends, just because that's what I enjoy to play, playing the most, like Froggen, Xpeke, etc. So, yeah, I would say that'd be it.
Great.
Yeah.
One guy asked if we saw MKP games this morning and what we thought. I saw a couple of them, and I'm sad. I'm not a happy man.
How did he look?
Not good. Like, I mean, I think he broke even, but he still obviously didn't rank up into back into Code S. But I didn't see all of them. I only saw, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of his games, and he just not playing great. He wasn't being ultra aggressive, like he's kind of famous for, and still bio heavy and not enough use of the new units. I think much like DRG, I think he's kind of stuck in his ways.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I don't know. Everyone has their slumps, man.
Yeah. One person wants to know why exactly you like to watch Pain User so much.
I like to watch Pain User, A, because he's a friend, B, because he streams for ridiculous amounts of time. Sometimes to the point where he gets so tired that it's just hilarious, some of the stuff that he'll do. I don't know. He's entertaining. He always is kind of chatting about something, and he's on quite a bit. So I can't really explain why, but he's an interesting stream to watch. So.
Someone asked, what happened to Pain User on Inside the Game?
Well, I think that Pain User has definitely been picking up more StarCraft 2, but he certainly had stopped playing and had a different focus for a while. I think that was one of the bigger reasons overall.
All right, I gotcha. I think the same person who asked why he's not on Inside the Game anymore asked him what your connection to EG is, because there's a lot of EG players on your shows, and why Idra can't be on the show anymore.
Well, Idra made the decision not to come on the show, although behind the scenes I'm not really sure. So I mean, it was pretty evident even from the very beginning that Evil Geniuses had Greg, they had Jeff, and they wanted them to be able to do a show. So they had asked me to do Inside the Game and to come up with 3 guests, and of course Jeff and Greg were 2 of those guests. And so I think as Pain User dropped off, and the obvious addition to the show was the Muslim. And then the Muslim, I just don't know that it was necessarily his thing. Like, he is a great guest, guy to interview, but maybe hosting a show is not his thing. So then of course the thing with Greg happened, and I wanted Greg to stay, but it might have been awkward. It might have been a little uncomfortable. He kind of decided that it would be in his best interest to not, and I totally respect that decision. So far, I think Thorzane and Suppy have been great, and Jeff obviously is fantastic. So, I mean, as far as why there's EG players on the show, it's quite simple answer, is that EG asked me to do the show with Greg and Jeff originally, so it's just kind of worked out that way, and I have no problem with that. I think they're all great guys. I think it's interesting to get a team perspective on things. So, it does get a little EG centric at times, and I try to temper that as much as I can. But still a great set of guys to get good content out of.
Yeah, the EG guys are great for that type of thing, I think, because we've had quite a few members of EG on in the past, and we have no affiliation with them.
Yeah, well, their organization helps them out, puts them out there.
Yeah, exactly. Suppy's great. He's still one of my favorite guests we've had on.
Yeah, Suppy's awesome. He's a lot of fun. He's like that little brother that I should have had. I had a little brother, but I think I should have had another one. He'd be Suppy.
Is he? Has he trolled you mercilessly on Inside the Game by playing with his web camera like he did to us?
No, but he's done it. He's done it before. So yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this is right. We were taking questions from the chat room, and he just kept switching his lenses. It's like it was really hard to keep my composure and read questions. So that's great. Off-topic question: if you played WoW, what class would you play?
I did play WoW as an undead mage, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, for the Horde.
Yeah, for the Horde.
Nice.
I don't think I played any expansion. I was vanilla WoW, level 60, got a Nixia's head. I think that was about it. Done
Just
deal.
wanted to live in the Warcraft 3 world for a bit.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. Well, cool. We're I guess that's pretty much it for the show. One more email. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to these guys because they're local. Dave wrote in and said that he's been listening to the show for only about 5 to 8 episodes, but he just heard that one of us is from the Tampa area. That would be me, and mentioned a Barcraft, and he just found the Tampa Esports site, tampaesports.com, and they're going to be having their first LAN this Saturday, so he wanted to ask if I could promote that. So this is me promoting that. Go check out tampaesports.com and support those guys, because I know Charlie, the guy who helped start all this stuff. He's a great guy. So go support the LAN, and if they do another Barcraft, which they haven't done yet, if you guys are listening, have another one. If they do another one, make sure you go to it, because it was awesome, the last one I went to.
Yeah, Barcrafts are amazing. Go.
Yeah, they're fun stuff, especially if you live somewhere where tournaments don't roll through a lot, like Florida. So it was so sad last year when MLG didn't come back. It was a bad time.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Marcus, thank you again so much. It was great having you on. Anything else you'd like to promote before you leave? We can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. You can follow me on Twitter at djWHEAT. Also, on Twitch /djWHEAT on Twitch /djWHEAT on YouTube. I have been doing a lot more YouTube content lately. It's sort of it's sort of like my miscellaneous stuff. All my streaming I do on Twitch, but as random stuff, including odd things with my family come around. That's where it ends up, but I'm starting to do a little bit more regular stuff as far as that's concerned. And I really thank you guys for letting me come on the show and keep up the good work.
Wonderful. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
And kick it forward!
Woo! As always, if you want to see everything Kyle and I do, this show, This Week in Blizz, or our new show, The Campaign Roundtable, where we discuss the story of games. We're currently doing Bioshock Infinite. You can check that out over at amove.tv. TheStarCast.com is the place to go for our forums, archives, t-shirts, all that jazz. You can catch us live every Thursday night right here at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/thehandsomenerd. Our VODs are at youtube.com/StarCastShow, and our podcast is on the Frog Band Studio Ultra feed over at frogbands.com. Email us at starcastshow@gmail.com. That's where we got all of the emails for today. Follow us on Twitter at TheStarcast. And big thanks to our production crew, Octane Pro and Captain Newbing, for all that they do for this show. Finally, self-pimping. Check out nomoonart.com. I'm a graphic designer by trade. If you need some Twitch designs, go check it out. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me at my 4th podcast, Biggest Fan Podcast. And this week is Magician Week. Because there's that movie coming out where people explode into money, and it looks okay.
I can't wait to see it. It looks terrible, but it's got such an awesome cast.
It has the new Hulk, so I kind of want to see it. I don't know the actor's name, but I like him. Tell me there's going to be some Joe Bluth in there, right? You're talking about magicians? Is the final countdown going to be the intro for this week's episode?
Hey, those are illusions.
But where the lighter fluid come from, right?
Man, but we're going to be talking about it all. We haven't had magician specials since the 90s.
All right. Good stuff. Finally, big thanks to our sponsors, Doghouse Systems, Tweaked Audio, and SC2quoteoftheday.com. Our code is StarCast. It gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig, and that same code will get you 30% off and free shipping off your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. And SC2 Quote of the Day, they're not trying to sell you anything other than an awesome community website, so go to SC2quoteoftheday.com and follow them at SC2 Quotes. We'll see you all next week for episode 155. Thanks for tuning in.
Take care.
Peace.